to have you back here again and part of our Global Influence Summit Masterclass series. I am super excited to be doing this series because we have some of the smartest people I know teaching you some of the most brilliant things you can learn around how to effectively run influence-based businesses that really have impact on the world and make great profit. So today's masterclass is no exception. We have one of our sponsors for the Global Influence Summit joining us this morning. I'm so excited because I'm such a huge fan of what Julie Johnson teaches. Julie Johnson has been serving the financial needs of individuals, families, and business owners around the country for the past 17 years. She holds advisory, securities, and insurance licenses in order to provide full service to anyone who has a need. She also serves as the branch manager, supervising a group of agents and advisors out of her branch in the Pacific Northwest. One of the unique things about Julie's business is that she and her colleagues offer Wall Street products and services to Main Street. So, you know, whether you've got $25 or $25 million, she still works with you. Julie is one of the smartest people I know. I am so thrilled to have her here this morning to mentor you around creating a financial mindset around your entrepreneurial business. Julie, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Teresa. Good to see everybody. Hi.
And I'm so excited to have you sponsoring the Global Influence Summit and our Masterclass series. So Julie, I know you have a PowerPoint deck. Do you want to just pull that up and we will dive right in? While you do that, I'm just going to tell the people listening, we have a chat board live, so you are welcome to type your questions on the chat board. We're going to keep this fun and informal. And if you've got questions for Julie as you go, or you want to give real live examples of what you're dealing with in business, you are welcome to type your questions on the chat board and I'll interject and we'll get your questions to Julie. So take it away, Julie.
So I want to make sure, Teresa, can everyone see
my slides look perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, this first slide says money matters for entrepreneurs. And what I really mean by that is interesting ways for you to improve upon or increase your financial mindset as an entrepreneur. And so what I thought I would do today, two things. Number one, since we aren't in the room together talking and seeing each other face to face, this is the next best thing. But if we were in a room together, I would have a whiteboard up in front of the room because I like to draw pictures and charts and use my hands to talk. So you're not seeing it maybe, but I'm talking with my hands right now and pretending I've got a whiteboard. So I'm going to go forward to my first slide and you'll get an idea of what I'm saying. One of the first things I like to share with people is if you are an entrepreneur, you are a business person, not just a technician. And so I'm going to be sharing 10 or more ideas with you today on how to improve your financial mindset and or identify things that will help you financially in your business. And some of them are easy to do. Some of them take a little more effort, but they're all important to you as an entrepreneur. And so one of the first ones is to assemble your team of advisors. Now, I don't know if you know who Damon John is. He's the gentleman who created FUBU, and he's a regular on the Shark Tank television program. And his comment about entrepreneurship is that entrepreneurship is the new cool. And I thought that was really neat. I shared that with my 25-year-old son. And he's like, yeah, entrepreneurship is the wave of the future. So that coming from the mouths of babes. You may be the best pie maker or social media trainer or software developer, but underneath it all, you're still a business owner. I don't know if any of you have read the books by Michael Gerber, the E-Myth books, but one of the things that we as entrepreneurs, if you are a small business owner and have started your own business, we're so busy sometimes working in our business, we forget to work on our business. And so what I want to share today could help you do more of that working on your business. And one of the first things is recognizing what you do well, what you don't do well, recognizing what other people do well, and what other people don't do well, and surrounding yourselves with people that do the things that you need help with. So our team of advisors is the first one. Some of the people shown here, I'll say personalities shown on this chart, are some of them do more than one item. For example, as a financial advisor, I also can do insurance advising. I'm not a tax advisor, but maybe your bookkeeper or record keeper also can do tax work. Your banker might also be a financial advisor. Your commercial insurance advisor might also be your personal lines insurance advisor. So some of them share responsibilities, some of them don't. But here's the big question. You may have some of these on your team already, or people that you can go to for this. But the big issue is, do they talk to each other? Do they even know each other? This is my first piece of advice. Assemble your team of advisors, but make sure they talk to each other, because all of these items are intertwined and they are important. Okay, my next thought is entrepreneur's mindset. And that covers a lot of areas, but you'll get my drift when we go through this little 3-step process. I'm going to ask everyone to take 30, 40 seconds and write down off the top of your head on a piece of paper right in front of you, what are the bills you pay each month? You know, things like your office rent, your office supplies. If you're a baker, the ingredients that you need to bake your pies every month. Your travel expenses, your cell phone costs. Just jot them down right off the top of your head. You don't need to do anything fancy. Just put them on a piece of paper. I'll wait 30 seconds here, and there's a method to my madness. So if you're sitting with a pencil and paper, please do that, or do it in your head if you are not somewhere that you can write this down. And I'm just going to wait for a second.
And I'm going to say, if you guys want to have fun, feel free to do the exercises on the chat board if you want. And we'll follow you along on the chat. As
Okay,
you
that's
guys
a great
type
idea.
interesting things on the chat board, I'll interject and let Julie know what they are. So, you know, hi to, I've had a few people direct message me and a few people type on the chat board. Hi to Kelly from Seattle. Hi to Trish from LA. I know you said you had a holistic business. Kelly, we didn't hear what your business was. Hi to John from New York. So thank you guys for joining us. I know some of you are shy, so you're not putting it on the public chat and just direct messaging me, and that's fine too. But it actually is a lot more fun when you guys participate. So feel free to type your notes directly on the chat board if you like. Okay, let's keep going, Julie.
Yep. So now take a look at those items that you listed and prioritize the top 1, 2, 3, the top 4 items. Pick number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 in whatever you think the order of priority is. Which ones do you have to pay first, second, third, and fourth? Okay, now the question I have for you is, what is your number 1 item? And you can enter the one if you want to go ahead and put it in the chat box and tell us what it was. Does anybody have one they want to share? What was their number 1 that they have to pay every month without fail? Any responses, Teresa? Is everybody still there?
Oh, sorry, Julie. I apologize. I was on mute. Here I am chatting away with you and you can't hear me.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. And you're like, is anybody there? Thank you for telling me that. Silly things that event hosts do. Yeah, I'm getting, John from New York has direct messaged me that his top priority is getting his websites paid. I know mine is paying my director of operations, because my business would fail without Pam Bain. But
okay.
yeah, so
excellent.
yeah,
I appreciate that. Well, I'm here to tell you that your number one item should be you. You must pay yourself first. And most of us that believe that is completely counterintuitive. I got to pay everybody else before I pay myself. The problem is if you continue doing that for too long, you'll end up not making any money and you won't be able to continue with your business. So even if you have to start by paying yourself 20 bucks a month because that's all you can afford, it's a habit you want to get into for yourself. And again, it could be a $20 bill once a month into the cookie jar until you are being more profitable. But the mindset is what I'm talking about. The mindset is I am the number one person in this business and I need to stay in business and therefore I need to pay myself first. Whether you feel you're ready for that or you're just starting out, it's your mindset. So thank you for sharing on that, everybody. Entrepreneurial mindset. You are the most important person in your business. All right. Next page, I'm going to share the six, what I consider the six basic components of your financial life and having financial security, let's say. Some people might call it 6 building blocks of a financial foundation, whatever it is. I'm just touching on these briefly, and I'm going to carry some of my ideas. You'll see them, they match with some of these 6 items. Number 1, cash flow. I just talked about it, our mindset. We are the number one person in our business. Also, you've got to hopefully stay out of debt beyond what you can manage. We want to protect not only ourselves, but we want to protect our business. We want to protect our business assets. I'll talk about that a little bit. We all need an emergency fund. There may be months where you don't have more than that $20 bill to stick in a cookie jar. But we want to make sure we are covered for unexpected expenses. We want to both build and preserve our wealth as our business begins to make money. So I will refer back to these basic building blocks, if you will, as we move through our different ideas. Let's talk a little bit about cash flow. I want to share a few ideas on how to find creative ways to access cash for your business. Are you bootstrapping your business? Are you looking for outside resources? Do you have savings? Here are a few thoughts that wherever you are, you might reach out and look for some ideas. Here in the Northwest, we have a local organization called Mercy Corps Northwest that provides some matching grants for entrepreneurs going through a training program, how to write business plans, how to start a business. And the program I'm familiar with is one called the Individual Development Account. And for example, and I actually went through this program a number of years ago, so I'm really familiar with it. And now I act as a mentor to new business owners starting out and going through these classes. I had the opportunity to go through a business planning class. It was a 6-week course. We met once a week, a group of 25 of us who are starting a new business or revamping a business, which is what I was doing. And we have the ability to save a certain dollar amount for 6 months and be matched on that dollar amount. I saved $1,000 in a special development account, and then Mercy Corps Northwest matched it with $4,000 so that I could buy new equipment for my office. There are organizations in your communities that do offer things like this, and I encourage you to go out and look for them. Here's another creative idea for accessing cash to grow your business. You may have qualified retirement accounts. You may have IRAs. You may have old 401k plans from a company you used to work for. Did you know that you can create for your business an individual 401k plan? It's just like a regular 401k plan, but it's for a one-person business. So if you don't have employees beyond family members, you can create an individual 401k plan. And did you also know that if you have an individual 401k plan, you can borrow from your plan up to 50% of what's in there to grow your business? You pay it back over a 5-year period, but it's like interest-free loan from yourself. You're not having to go to an outside agency. So those are a couple of ideas on where to find creative ways to access cash to grow your business. If you want to know more about that, you'll have my email and phone number at the end of the presentation, and we will definitely, I'll be happy to share more information with you about that. So a couple
Julie,
of
I'm going
quick
to jump in
questions.
here because I'm going to give you a couple of examples to speak to, because we've had one person private message me and one person type on the chat board what their businesses are. And I always find it's more fun if you've got some real life businesses that you can speak to around how they might make these considerations. So we had Trish from LA say she runs a holistic business. She's a doctor of Chinese medicine, and she's looking to expand. She wants to, like, how do I go from solopreneur to really being a business that maybe reaches groups or has a broader reach, like more of an influence-based business. And Callie from Seattle types on the chat boards, I'm a newbie starting out as an entrepreneur. I'm looking to start out being a mentor to children with cerebral palsy. Boy, you ladies are doing some cool stuff. I got to say, I love what you're doing. And she's trying to, cerebral palsy, trying out use tools, and her expertise with alternative methods to overcoming limited functions of body mind, so as to create a booklet toolkit for parents, and then she wants to expand from there. So, her question was like, what's a good starting point for expanding? So I'm just going to give you those two examples that came in, because I always find it's really fun if you can actually speak to the people on the call, and it
Okay.
gives us some real life ways to wrap our head around what you're teaching.
Yeah. So depending on whatever community you're in, seek out local nonprofit organizations that have small business development programs. And for example, if you're looking to create tools or to purchase maybe equipment to expand your business, an organization like a Mercy Corps Northwest that I'm familiar with, their program would have given me the ability to purchase not only perhaps services to get a website up and going better, but maybe to get bookbinding equipment if you're wanting to create an actual physical book, a workbook like you described, or printing opportunities. Some of these things, these organizations will, match 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 in some cases, for things of that nature. So if you're looking to just get started, I would highly recommend you seek out business development, and that might be a great way for you to do a Google search, business development training, and seek out nonprofit organizations that would have business development training classes. That's what I did. I wanted to reinvent myself after I took a couple of years off with, a personal family issues, multiple deaths in my family, and I took a couple years off, and I needed to reinvent myself when I came back, and that's what I did. I'd been in the business for 10 years, thought I knew I was doing, but needed to kind of start over again and kind of reshape how I was moving forward. So you can take that same experience I had, seek out some local groups in your area, and you never know, they may have financial programs as well. And again, if you have old qualified plans from former employers, that's a resource for cash. And someone can help you find a way to access that cash without having to deal with the after effects, the tax impact, and so forth. I hope that helps.
Yeah, so Callie has just typed on a new question. She's, what could I do to generate funding support to jumpstart whatever is required? So Callie is from Seattle. She's the one wanting to become a mentor to children with cerebral palsy. Have you got any
Oh,
specific examples for Callie?
for funding and jump starting, and she might be looking for maybe some crowdfunding types of things. And I will also say, again, I will go back to local nonprofit organizations. The Small Business Administration is a good place to start as well. And you can go to SBA, I think it's sba.org, and seek out local you can talk with and counsel with local retired business people. There's a program through the Small Business Administration that will connect you with a business owner who's done something similar to you, and they're retired now, and they're giving back by mentoring new business owners. And that would be a way to find out some, initial funding, and you might even be able to bootstrap this. Some people start and they're still working for another company, so you may be doing the part-time thing. I'm not really sure, but there are ways for you to begin by finding a mentor or a business development course. I would highly recommend that. They help you learn how to write a business plan, because you'll have to have a business plan if you do want to get funding of any kind outside
Yeah,
of
and
your
Callie,
own.
let me give you three quick ideas. Google grants for women in business. There's a lot of programs out there run by women to help other women start in entrepreneurship. Also, a really cool thing to do is just set up a few small workshops, even in your living room, on the specific topic of cerebral palsy. Workshops for families with cerebral palsy. Get something going. Charge people, $50 a head or $100 a family to come. I don't know what. And see where the need is. They can become your test audience to see what you need to do. There's no greater source of funding than to actually start doing what your business is and charging people for it.
That's right. And those are good ideas. And this is not a marketing webinar, but that's another place where you really want to get some help and mentoring with how you begin marketing your services. And that's for another webinar. So Teresa, you understand that, right?
Oh yeah, no kidding. I just
Totally
wanted to
different.
throw those out there because
Yeah, I
no, and
appreciate
let's
that.
keep going, Julie, because we've got some really good suggestions coming here. Thank you.
Okay, so here's a few little financial things that I want everyone to understand. I'm not asking you to remember what I'm sharing, but these are three financial concepts all of you need to begin understanding as a business owner. Number one is the rule of 72. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the rule of 72, but this is an important thing that every person should have been taught in high school, and gosh darn, we weren't. Uh, and I wish the world would do this. The rule of 72 is a mathematical equation that tells you how long it takes your money to double. And I'll tell you why it's important in a moment. But this is just a chart, and I will forward this to everyone when this webinar is over. But this chart is just giving you an example. If, for purposes of this, I was a 29-year-old woman, which I'd love to be again, I had $10,000, and I was earning 4%. That far left column, I was earning 4% on my money. You divide your interest rate 4 into the number 72, and that tells me my money will double every 18 years. So it's going to double at age 47 to 20,000, and it's going to double again at age 65 to 40,000. Now, okay, that's all fine and dandy, but what if I could get 8% on my money? And that's the third column over from the left. Same situation. I'm 29. I've got $10,000, but 8% goes into 72 9 times. My money's going to double every 9 years. So look at the difference at age 65. I've got 160,000 as opposed to the 40,000 in the 4% column. Which one would you rather have? Well, of course, we'd rather have the bigger one. But again, understanding numbers and understanding some of these basic concepts is important to you as an entrepreneur. Here's the reason it's important. I'll move on to the next slide. If you understand the rule of 72, you're probably able to earn it. If you don't understand the rule of 72, you're probably paying it. Why do I say that? Let's go back. Let's look at the 12% column on the right-hand side. What if you had a credit card that you owed $10,000 on because you're starting a business and you had some expenses, and it's a 12% interest rate credit card? Not uncommon. Well, 12 goes into 72 6 times. If you're not making your minimum payments, it's possible that at the end of 6 years, you're not going to owe 10,000. It's going to double. You're going to owe 20. So again, that's why the rule of 72 is important to understand. If you understand it, you're earning it. If you don't understand it, you may be paying it with credit. So understand the rule of 72. Here's another concept we should understand, and that's the power of taxation. There are 3 ways to hold your money. So I've got 3 little buckets drawn here on my pretend whiteboard. We've got a taxable bucket, a tax-deferred bucket, a tax-advantaged bucket. The taxable bucket, you're going to pay tax every year on the growth of the money that you've got invested in that bucket. Your tax-deferred bucket, you're going to be saving taxes now by putting money away into an IRA or a 401k plan, but you'll pay the tax when you start withdrawing that money in the future. And how many of us think tax rates are going to go down in the future? If you can't see me, I am raising my hand. I don't think they can go down. I think they have to go up. I think most of us would agree. Then we've got the tax advantage bucket. We pay the tax now on the money we invest, and we do not pay the tax later. These are 3 different ways to hold your money, and my message is this: everyone needs a little bit in every bucket. So as your business grows, you can see where you will be able to see that you will have a need for money in each of these 3 buckets. All right, I'm going to move on to the last concept, financial concept, because a lot of us don't like to think about financial concepts. But let's talk about the power. This was the power of tax. Here's the power of inflation. This looks like kind of a scary little chart here, but it's not. There are basically 4 places to invest your money. And there's a 5th one, which would be real estate, but I'm not going to talk about real estate today. But we have to consider each of these 4 places you can invest money and how they can create an income for you and if they can keep up or beat inflation. Obviously, we can invest our money in the bank. And if you look at these items down the left-hand column, what kind of a rate of return do you get at the bank? What does it cost you to invest at the bank? Is there an upside? Is there a downside? What kind of an income do you get? And will it keep up or beat inflation? Most of us would agree we all need a little money in the bank, but it's not going to get us to a long-term growth. Bonds, rates of returns with bonds, 2 to 3%. They cost about 0.5% a year to own. And your income is 2 to 3%. Does that keep up with inflation in your life situation? Rarely, but sometimes. Equities, of course. Here's the biggie. Stocks, investments that are in equities. What's the rate of return? It's unlimited, basically. What does it cost to invest in equities? Generally 1 to 3% a year. Your upside, I put infinity there. It could go up, and of course, the next downside, it can also be infinity. That's the kicker. What kind of an income can you get from an equity when you retire? Usually 3 to 5% is what they're saying today. And does that beat inflation? Generally, yes. Protected portfolios. Generally, a protected portfolio is, for example, a pension plan is a protected portfolio, and you can create your own pension plan for your business. Generally, you'll get no less than 5% growth. They can cost 2 to 4% per year to own, depending on how their growth factors are. The upside is infinity, again, just like an equity, but there is no downside. There's no loss. You're basically insuring your retirement plan. Your income from that can be anywhere from 5 to 7%, depending on your age. And yes, of course, it does keep up with inflation. So remember, we do have to consider taxes and the impact of inflation on our long-term money. That's enough of the boring financial stuff. So let me talk a little bit more about some of the other things you can do to have an entrepreneurial mindset about your business. Let's talk about protecting your business. You need to protect your assets. of course, we use insurance to do that, both commercial insurance and, of course, I just mentioned you can protect your retirement plan. So if you have an insurance agent, be sure and talk with them about those concepts. Also, do you have a partner? A lot of businesses have become partnerships in one way or another. If you have a partner in your business, you need to protect that partnership with a buy and sell agreement. I'll give you a quick example. Think about this. We have two business owners that are married and they're 50-50 partners. Their business is plugging along and doing well, and one of the partners is in an accident and passes away. Probably the other partner is now in business with that partner's spouse, because that partner's spouse is the heir to that partner's assets, and they are a part owner of this business. Now, I don't know about you, but I've run into a few situations where a client is thinking, oh my gosh, I do not want to be in partnership with my partner's husband. I don't get along with them. So remember, you have to have a mechanism that if something, God forbid, should happen to your partner, you have a way to take care of your partner's family, whether or not you want to be in business with them again. So protecting your business includes considering this partnership issue. If anybody has any questions about that, please raise your hand and Teresa will let me know.
Yeah, and you can just type your questions on the chat board if they come up.
The other thing we want to protect is our business. If you're a solopreneur, you want to protect your assets. We need to think in terms of our own estate, and it includes our business. So you may have a home, you may have some investment accounts, you now have a business that has assets, it may have liabilities, and if something were to happen to you, what would be going on with your family as it relates to your estate?
Julie,
Yep.
our connection just faded there for a minute. So
Oh, okay.
I'm going to assume people are still hearing you because I'm seeing that some of the issues are at my end.
Okay.
So I'm just going to invite you to keep going. So sorry about that. I just wanted to as is that our connection may have faded there. So apologies if there was some interference.
Okay, we had a little interference according to Teresa, so hopefully everyone is still hearing me. I'm talking about protecting your assets by protecting your estate. It's one of the things we don't like to think about, but it is a fact of life that we must make sure that we have taken care of ourselves and our assets, our estate, if you will. Let me go back to that partnership issue. Here's another concept that a lot of people don't think about. The example I gave of the two partners where one of them passed away. What happens if you're in a partnership with someone and your partner gets in a terrible accident, but they don't pass away? You now have a partner who cannot work, but they are still in partnership with you legally. How do you handle that? So think about that. We don't generally think about those types of things, but many times with medical technology, 20 years ago, we would talk about partners passing away if there was an accident. Today, we discover that partners may be in rehab for 6 months. They may never fully recover, but they don't pass away. We have to take care of ourselves while we're living as well. And there are many mechanisms depending on the state and country you're in. If we have any Canadians on the webinar today, we need to take that into consideration. And for pennies on the dollar, you can, through insurance, protect your business from those two examples I just gave. So again, that feeds right into protecting your estate, even if you're a solopreneur as well. Many of us don't have a will. We don't have a trust. We maybe haven't even created our health documents in case something like what I just described would happen to you or your partner. But it's easy to do in today's day of technology. There are a couple of companies out there that offer an online portal for you to be able to create those legal documents that you need to protect yourself and your business and your partnerships if you have them from probate and from the problems that can arise if someone passes away. I can give you a couple of examples of that. Um, all of us need to have healthcare documents created, and in every state they're a little bit different. But if something were to happen to you and you're a business owner, you have a business to run, and you are now incapacitated for a week, for a month, for 6 months, have you designated someone to carry on your business for you? You may have designated someone, but you may not have officially designated someone. And therefore, if it's not official, it will create a problem for you. So you have an opportunity to officially designate someone to do that, to help you make medical decisions for you and to carry on your business by becoming a financial power of attorney for you so that your business can continue running while you are incapacitated. These things seem like minor as when compared to getting your business off the ground, but they are important because we never know what tomorrow brings. Each of us could have a injury or an accident or even, God forbid, pass away. So we must plan for those things. And
So,
these are,
Julie, sorry, go ahead.
yeah,
Um,
no,
I
go ahead.
I just wanted to interject with a couple questions that are coming up off the boards here. Rosemary from Calgary is wondering if we can get the URL for that portal that you mentioned a moment ago.
Yep, I can get that information to everyone that's on the webinar today, and
Okay.
I will, with Teresa, be able to forward information to everyone so that they can
Okay.
get answers
We'll
to
post
questions.
that on the Global Influence Summit at gmail.com G Plus account with the video so that you can get that. Um, Basically, she's looking for the legal documents. And sorry, I just want to circle back. I apologize. Callie from Seattle had a question about what you were talking about 2 minutes ago, and I missed it when she typed it in here. But she asked, what's the purpose of investing in bonds or equities?
The purpose of investing in bonds or equities, there's two basic reasons. The difference between the two have to do with they oftentimes have an inverse relationship to each other. Many times when the equity markets are doing very well, bond markets are not, and vice versa. And so someone who wants to have a diversified portfolio of investments, say in their 401k plan or their IRA, this would be a way to hedge against the volatilities of the market by having a mix of the two. The other thing that plays into it is a person's risk tolerance. Depending on your age, the number of years before you plan to retire or maybe quit working so much, plays into how aggressive you would want your portfolio to be. Obviously, equities are more aggressive than bonds. And so many times my clients begin shifting from a more equity based portfolio to a more bond based portfolio as they age and become less tolerant of the volatility of the markets or less risk tolerant. I hope that helps, Callie.
Beautiful. That's really helpful, Julie. Thank you.
Yeah. So I've shared a number of ideas, and here's a little recap of them, and then I'll open it up for questions. Here are the ideas that I had touched on throughout these slides. Assembling your team of advisors. Remember to pay yourself first. That's the number one rule of an entrepreneurial mindset. Find creative ways to access cash as you are growing your business. Understand that rule of 72. You're either earning it or you're paying it. Understanding the power of taxes and inflation on the funds you are able to put into savings and into your retirement accounts. understanding those 4 places to invest your money, as Callie was asking, difference between banks, bonds, equities, and protected portfolios. Protect your partnership with buy-sell agreements. Protect your assets with insurance. Protect your personal assets with your estate planning legal documents. And of course, know your numbers and review them regularly. One of the things that many of us as entrepreneurs have trouble with is digging into the weeds of the financial side of our business. You may be a very creative entrepreneur. You may be a very technical entrepreneur. You may be an artist. You could be a baker. And we are technicians in our own right based on the business we start. But we do have to know our numbers, and we do need to stay in touch with them regularly. It doesn't mean you're the pencil pusher every month doing your own books, but it does mean that you understand where your business is every month. And remember, if you want to get business loans, the first place that your banker is going to go is to look at your numbers. So it's our way of making sure that we understand where our business is. So I'll open it up for questions now, and I'm most happy to field any question anybody has that they haven't had a chance to ask throughout the webinar.
Beautiful. Julie, thank you so much. You've been so generous with your information, and I'm so excited that you're sponsoring the Global Influence Summit with us in San Diego, because of course a lot of what we're talking about is, you know, aligned with how do you take your business to a much bigger level, a more influence-based business, and really not losing sight of the financial side is such a big part of that. So I'm just looking at the chat boards here. Everybody's saying loving the tips, been great call. Christopher from Oceanside is saying thank you so much. Callie from Seattle, thank you. Starting out late in life, putting money into a retirement plan. Oh, actually, Callie does type a question here. If starting out late in life, putting money into a retirement plan, what's recommended differently if you're starting late? Have you got any thoughts on that?
I do. Here's my general thought about starting late. Let's all think about life expectancy today as opposed to maybe 30 or 40 years ago. Let's say you're in your 50s and you're starting a new business, and many people I've heard say, it's so late. How can I possibly make up for lost time in my 50s and I'm just getting started? Here's the thing. You may live to be 90 or 95 years old. You're not starting late. You've got 30, 40 years. And so when someone says, how can I, get the best in investments and yet not put myself at too much risk when I'm starting late in life? And my comment is we would do what I will call laddering your investments. Those things that you may need access, if you need access to money in the next 10 years, we would have that a little less aggressively invested, and part of your funds can be aggressively invested because, hey, I don't need all of this. I've got some I'm going to want in 30 years. 30 years is a very long time frame. And so we're able to help people kind of ladder their buckets of money, if you will, so that they are planning not only for the near future, but for way out into the future. And, I'm in that boat. I started late after big life changes in my late 40s and began my business basically in my 50s. And I expect for the next 30 years, I will be doing something related to my business, maybe for at least the next 20 years, but I'm probably going to live well past that. And I need to plan for having access to some of my assets way out 30 or 40 years from now. And
Yeah,
so
Callie's writing, that's a better thought. What's a way to leverage for accessing investments? So I think you hit the nail on the head there. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christopher also types a question here from Charmaine, who's our partner in the Global Influence Summit. So hi, Charmaine. When you are putting in your business plan that one of your goals is to build influence and your reach to a global level, Example, if your business is local or regional, what should we be thinking about to ensure we have the resources to support us growing? And
Well,
Callie
you know,
writes, I
to
love the
me,
examples, by the way. So thanks, Callie, for the feedback.
yeah, global growth. I can use my own business as an example for that. 15 years ago, which is when I was relatively new in the business, I couldn't imagine myself sitting here doing a webinar and reaching out to someone in New York or California or Seattle and actually touching them and ending up being able to have a, a business relationship potentially. And today I can not only reach out to people like this, but I can actually, through technology, I can actually serve a client as if I'm sitting there with them every time. It has just made business at the speed of technology work. And so when you're growing globally, technology is our friend. And one of the things that if those of you on this call are over the age of 50, sometimes technology is difficult to accept. It's like, oh, I have to learn something new, but I've embraced it. I've told myself that I'm going to continue to embrace technology because it is my friend and it helps me grow my business globally. So technology has allowed almost every business, with the exception of, well, you can bake pies and ship them overnight. So I was going to say, if you're a baker and you're baking pies, you may be more of a local business, but you can grow a business globally by finding a baker in every city in the United States who wants to become an outreach of your baking business. So there really is a way that you can do that. You just have to think that technology allows us to do that. And I love technology today, and I'm happy to learn something new, and I never begrudge it. I always say, okay, this is great. I can learn this, and I can use it in my future with someone else. So
Beautiful.
I hope that
Julie, I
helps.
know that's a phenomenal answer. Thank you. Julie, I know there's one question everybody wants me to ask, so I just want to make sure we get it in because
Okay.
we'll be ending the call in a couple minutes here. How do people get more Julie Johnson?
Well, here you go. Thank you for coming to my webinar today. And here is my email address, and here's my cell number. You guys can call my cell phone. Or send me an email and we can begin a dialogue, and I can forward you information based on what you heard today. I can keep feeding you. I'm happy to spoon feed you, and I'm also happy to feed you with a fire hose if that's what you wish, and I will just let you tell me how you want to get information. I can drip it to you as you can take it in, or I can give you a whole bunch of stuff all at once. And then we can continue the discussion about your particular topic of what's most important to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Julie. That's so generous of you. And for those of you interested in joining us in San Diego, we would love to see you there for the Global Influence Summit, February 18th and 19th. We have some of the top experts in the world on running influence-based businesses coming in for this summit. We're so excited to bring this group of people together. Those of you who follow my work know that becoming highly influential and running a business that is in a one-to-many model, like, you know, the business model of how do you get yourself out of just dealing with your clients one-on-one and moving into the realm where you can have much bigger impact and, by the way, make a much higher profit. To move into that realm, you not only need strategies and techniques, but you also need a different mindset around influence. Julie's been sharing some wonderful foundational stuff with us here today. We've also got some phenomenal speakers. I'm so excited to be hosting the event with Charmaine Hammond, who teaches some amazing strategies for entrepreneurs on using your book to get your book out there. We've got Dr. Sean Duperrin, who's actually just been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for her work on Project Forgive. She'll be talking about developing your relationship with the media. We've got Harrison Klein, Natalie Ledwell, who have, of course, global reaches, two of the biggest mindset experts out there. We have internet marketing expert Thomas Lemaguire, branding expert Jerry Foster, the owner of the Social Buzz Club, one of the biggest gamified online relationship building platforms on the internet, Laura Rubenstein speaking. So we're so excited to have assembled this group of people. You can still get your tickets for $220. The price is going up in a couple days, and it's not too late. It's not that expensive to buy a plane ticket to San Diego. If you need to room share, reach out, because there are other people asking to room share. We would love to see you there, because we would love to see you impacting and helping a lot more people in the world. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Julie, thank you for being so generous with your knowledge this morning. And join us next time. Yeah, thanks, Julie. And join us next time for our masterclass series. It's just really, really been fun. And just a big shout out to Callie from Seattle, and Trish from LA, and Christopher, and Robert from San Ramon, who were all typing your messages on the chat board for us. You guys made this call really fun. We'll see you all next time.